We are back for season 4. Football is here, and I'm excited. The bottom line is here, Big Daddy.
That's right. We had to train to figure out how to do this StreamYard again. Holy Christ, it's been a few days since we did it last.
It's been a hot minute.
A lot less for me than for you, though.
Right.
But anyway, without further ado, it's season 4 of the Bottom Line Podcast, and it starts now.
And that's the bottom line. You want a war? You're gonna get one.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
You know, you said it has been a long time for me, but it wasn't time wasted. As you could see, we had a hell of a summer with that group. The Ridgeview Raptors varsity baseball team, state qualifier. First one in school history, so it wasn't a total waste. So
Yeah, why don't you tell them a little bit about that, by the way?
Well, it was a lot longer summer baseball-wise, and that's a good thing. We went 13-0 at home, went 22-5 on the season, made the first ever appearance in the Iowa State baseball tournament for Ridgeview High School. So, yeah, it was well worth it. Well worth the grind, well worth everything that went into it. So, and I had a senior and a sophomore of my own on the team, so that always makes it a little bit better. Also coaching with my brother. So yeah, it was extremely fun season, you know, so that made it all worthwhile.
Doesn't stop there either, because sounds like you got a pretty good team coming back next year.
We should be pretty solid for the foreseeable future. So baseball, I mean, even though I could do a podcast on football and I love the game of football, baseball never ends in my house. My junior son now has a football game on Friday, but we have a baseball tournament this weekend, so it never stops.
Why don't you bring in our compadres?
I mean, I suppose we can. Brett the Hitman, welcome back.
Man, I'm glad to have you back. I know Eduardo is. We miss you. We miss you every time this year, but again, I stayed up with what y'all were doing through Ed if I couldn't get you on the phone, because between work and all your kids and events and this, and I don't even know how you survive. I mean,
It can get
If I
pretty
can't get
brutal.
7, 8 hours sleep, I'm done for the next day. So you're my hero.
There's no such thing as 7 or 8 hours of sleep during baseball season. I can promise you that.
And it doesn't stop tomorrow yet either, Brett, because he's got to take Blake to college.
Oh, wow.
Got to take Blake to college at 4:30 in the morning. And then, yeah, of course. And then first football game for my junior now is on Friday. And then baseball tournament in Des Moines on Saturday and Sunday.
I don't know, man. I would just have to high five the kids and be like, I'll catch the next one. I'll watch it from the couch, but I'm going to catch the next one.
Yeah, well.
So Eric's obviously a very good daddy.
Yeah, don't tell my wife that though. Let us not forget KJ is back for season 4.
Good evening, gentlemen.
And Chad would be back, but he's apparently celebrating his anniversary. His wife wouldn't let him get out of it, blah, 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 blah.
I've heard of lame excuses.
Right.
For your anniversary?
Listen, I got a bad back right now and can't hardly stand it, and I'm here, and you're off for an anniversary. I mean, whatever, it's fine.
We've already got familiar faces checking in. John David's checking in. Who's that guy next to you?
John David's favorite. His favorite bottom line co-host, I'm sure of it.
John David he's going to turn Eric into his whipping boy now after what happened to Iowa State. It's going to be unmerciful.
Is what it is, man.
That's
the nature of college football anymore. So what do you do?
Some familiar
I
faces.
got a new superstar checking in.
Got Marty checking in already. Got Robert on the watching. Got Brett's Black Panther crossing the screen already.
She's never been up here. That was one of the other ones. She's a newbie.
Season number 4, fellas.
I think we got a lot to talk about tonight, even though the season hasn't even started.
Yeah, we got started a little bit late this year. Had some unforeseen issues come up, but we dealt with it and we're ready to go. So let's start off with power rankings for college during our college segment. And we're going to start off with the 3-time defending college national championship champion, Big Ten.
This is Brett's doing this, right?
All right, this is my preseason power rankings for the Big Ten. At number 1, we got Ohio State. Ohio State enters the 2026 season with one of the nation's most talented rosters. Quarterback Julian Sayin teams up with wide receiver Jemiah Smith to give the Buckeyes one of the best offensive combos in the conference. Defensively, Ohio State remains loaded, as they always are with NFL talent. They have a brutal schedule, though, that includes road trips to Texas, Iowa, Indiana, and USC.
Well, Did you say Iowa? Did you say Iowa?
Yeah, there's not a tougher place to play than Kinnick Stadium. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
I mean, okay. Take your word for it.
And they also have to host Oregon and Michigan. They obviously have what it takes to compete for the Big Ten championship and a national title. Coming in at number 2, the Indiana Hoosiers, defending national champions. Can Indiana survive another season now that they are the hunted? They got a pretty soft schedule, allows the Hoosiers time to get to gel, because they shouldn't be tested until at least week 7 and 8 when they play Ohio State and Michigan back-to-back. Kurt Cignetti makes another national title run, time will tell. Number 3 is the Oregon Ducks. Oregon spent the most NIL money in the Big Ten at just under $59 million.
Like to hear that, don't you, Brett?
Bullshit.
Head coach Dan Lanning has been able to transform Oregon into one of the premier programs in college football. Returning quarterback Dante Moore gives the Ducks stability for another run. With the money Oregon spent building their roster, they are deep at every position across the board. With a favorable schedule that doesn't see back-to-back away games and home games against Ohio State and Michigan until week 10 or 11 and 11. If they can stay healthy, they can not only challenge for the Big Ten, but also a national championship as well. Number 4, you might say, is my first surprise team. Matt Campbell starts a new era for the Nittany Lions, and he was able to take quarterback Rocco Beck with him from Iowa State to get things started. This should allow him to take a giant step forward on offense to pair with an already good defense with a very favorable schedule, and I say favorable. Their goal going into the season should be getting to 10 wins and challenge for the Big Ten championship. Penn State has plenty of time to come together as a team before they hit the only meat of their schedule with a back-to-back matchup with USC at home and Michigan away in weeks 6 and 7. Chalk them up for at least 10 wins, and no one will be more glad to see that than Eric.
I hope they lose 6 games.
So those top 4 teams is probably sitting the best in the conference. And number 5, USC. This should be Lincoln Riley's best team since becoming the head coach of USC. Their offense was explosive in 2025, but their defense sucked. So what did they do? They spent the second highest nil money in the Big Ten at just under $56 million to revamp their defense. They also brought in a veteran defensive coordinator, Gary Patterson. USC will be tested early as they play Oregon and Washington at home in weeks 4 and 5, followed by an away game at Penn State in week 6. Then they have a test later in the season where they play Ohio State and Indiana back-to-back, separated by a much-needed bye week to help them prepare for Indiana. They'll be vastly improved, but with that kind of schedule, I think it's accurate to have them in the second tier of the top 10. Number 6 is Michigan. The Wolverines also begin a new era with a new coach, Kyle Whittingham, who had a remarkable career at Utah. He inherits one of the nation's most difficult schedules that includes home games against Oklahoma, Iowa, Penn State, Indiana, along with away games at Oregon and Ohio State. Michigan's always a talented team, but the jury is out on whether they can come together as a playoff team, especially in year 1 of a new coach.
Whittingham's going to have to earn his money if Michigan makes a splash. I tell you what, out of those top 6 teams, if Michigan makes the playoffs, they have 100% earned it.
Oh, without question. That schedule's just brutal. And you got a brand new coach you just hired after signing day had been over. And wow. Buckle up, Palco. It's going to be a rough one.
Are you going to talk about the 8 or 9 win Hawkeyes next, or are you just going to cut it off short there?
No, I'm talking about the top 10, man.
Oh.
We got number 7. We got the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Wow, Homer.
Once again, I will have one of the stingiest defenses in the conference under longtime defensive coordinator Phil Parker.
Jesus.
Parker. Oh, I misspelled that. Son of a bitch. And I had to do it on Iowa, too. Damn it.
It's your fucking team. It's your team. I had to tell you who it was.
If Iowa can even get average quarterback play, they have a chance to be a dangerous team. Iowa has a true home field advantage when they play at home at Kinnick Stadium. They were almost able to take down the national champion Indiana Hoosiers at home last year. With a favorable schedule, Iowa can get to 10 wins this season. Can they pull out a win when they play a stretch of Michigan on the road, Ohio State at home, and Washington on the road in weeks 4 through 6? Their style of play creates the biggest obstacle as they seem to play very conservative on offense and try to win their games on defense. The problem with that is that it creates too many one-score games that become a coin flip at the end. So
interference has only been there for 43 years. I mean, Iowa isn't going to change.
Well, as you know, I've been actively lobbying to get a change of coach, but as you can see, that ain't going to happen. Number 8, the Fighting Illini. Illinois is steadily improved and is a very respectable team in the Big Ten. Illinois mirrors Iowa in their identity by running the ball, controlling the clock, and playing disciplined defense. A lofty goal for Illinois would be to try and reach 9 wins for the season. That would be definitely something to build on. Number 9, we got the Washington Huskies. Washington seems to be a good home team, but they have been very inconsistent on the road. They show flashes of being a good team, but 8 or 9 wins would probably be a successful season for them. And rounding out the top 10, and the last team that we're going to actively talk about, the Nebraska Cornhuskers at number 10. Matt Rule looks like the right head coach to turn this program around. I think more of the problem is Lincoln, Nebraska just isn't flashy enough to lure the top football talent. Winters in Nebraska suck, not to mention being out in the middle of nowhere. Can Nebraska get the alum to bone up the cash necessary to make an impact on nil? Time will tell, but at first glance, it doesn't appear to be anytime soon. And then I've got what you call the practice squad. And I just put them in alphabetical order for easy listening. Maryland, Michigan State, Minnesota, Northwestern, Purdue, Rutgers, UCLA, and Wisconsin. I'm not ranking these teams. All I can say is a big thank you to all 8 teams that play in the Big Ten and this bottom dwellers so that the other sports programs in your respective universities can be played. If it's not football, good luck.
You know, I look at that practice squad. I think Iowa plays 7 out of 8 of those.
That's why they have a sneaky chance to get to 10 wins.
You know what? We said that last year, and then they got beat by Iowa State right away, and then there was no college football playoff for them. So I'm sure they'll do some of the similar things again this year, bud.
There is one team in the practice squad I'm going to talk about, though, and that's Rutgers. Keep an eye out on Rutgers. Last year, Rutgers' athletic program ran a deficit of $78 million. This brings the total cumulative deficit since joining the Big Ten to over $516 million. If you're playing other sports at Rutgers, you may want to start looking for a transfer.
Yeah.
Because how much longer can Rutgers survive in the Big Ten with losing that kind of coin every year? So, final thoughts on the Big Ten. With the Big Ten winning the last 3 national championships, Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana, can they make it 4 in a row? Time will tell, but I think the Big Ten has become the conference to beat. Do you hear that, SEC?
All right, Brett.
Brett, let's to say about that.
I'm going to pick this apart. First of all, Oregon. I know Ohio State's always the perennial favorite in the Big Ten, but if I had $100 to lay on a team to win the national championship, it's going to be Oregon. Lanning, obviously, they spent the most amount of money on the nil. They've got, I would argue, the best roster in the Big Ten. Maybe not the easiest schedule, Iowa, Penn State, Nothing compared to Michigan. But I would say that, Oregon, you better fear the Ducks. And Indy. I think the national champion comes out of those top three teams right there.
And if you strictly go by record, Oregon's set up to have a pretty successful season because they play USC in week 4. Then they don't really play another highly ranked team until Ohio State in week 10.
Yeah.
Followed by Michigan in week 11. That's really the strength of their schedule. So you got to pencil them in probably for at least 11 wins.
Right. So, I think your national championship, I know SEC fans aren't going to love to hear that, but, I'm telling you, those three teams on the top there and the MVPs they're going to be a real problem. Unless for some reason Hoover doesn't get it in Indiana, but Cignetti has always figured it out. He's been successful wherever he's at. I got to believe Indiana's still going to be a real problem. Defensively, would you agree, Brett? Defensively, for Indiana is going to be where that's going to be the biggest question mark they have.
Well, I keep going back to, and I'm doing the Cignetti and Nick Saban comparisons, and how I can do that, they have very similar personalities. They coach with each other arm in arm, and Cignetti, learned everything he knows basically from Nick. I'm sure he took some other stuff along the way, but one thing always sticks out to me from what Nick Saban has said, and that's it's not getting there is the toughest point. It's sustaining. It's getting back. And I remember the year he had at LSU after he won the first national championship. And then I remember the year he had at Alabama the year after winning his first national championship. And I want to say both those years he lost at least 4 games. Cignetti's a fantastic coach. But if you're talking national champion in the Big Ten this year, I'm giving you 2 possible options. And that's Ohio State, of course, best team bought and paid for in the conference. And yes, I will agree with you on Oregon. But again, Dan Lanning's failure every year thus far that has really cost him a chance at a natty at Oregon is what I always like to, the lines of scrimmage. The game is still won on offensive and defensive line. And until he can prove to me that he has the coaches and the players to do that, they spend big money, and they have ever since Neil started. But once they get into the big games, look at what usually happens to their defense. They usually just get absolutely run through. So take Oregon out of the mix. And I think you're one legitimate national championship contender this year out of the Big Ten is Ohio State. Does Oregon have the talent? Yes. Prove me wrong on the lines of scrimmage. And Ohio State's always going to be there. They're always going to be in the playoff hunt with the amount of just sheer talent they've got. They bought 2 of Alabama's best players again in the offseason. It's what they do. They're the Texas of the North. They seem to have unlimited money, and they do not mind spending it. So Ohio State is definitely the real threat in the conference again this year, in my opinion. Oregon can absolutely unseat them, but I want to see them win some big games at the line of scrimmage because they really have not done that thus far with Lanning at the helm.
And I think Matt Campbell's going to also show that he is a damn good football coach, and he's got the schedule. He's got the schedule that allows him to get the fan base energized and into it, because with the schedule he's got, his record's going to look pretty damn good when it gets towards the end of the season. So,
well, if it's not the nose candy, it's definitely the schedule up there at Happy Valley.
All right, SEC time. Are you ready, Brett?
Yeah, the battled and beaten and wounded SEC, the Sisters of the Poor. Well, here we go. Man, Texas, again, it's what I just say about Ohio State. They got the best roster bought and paid for, probably 50, 60, 70 million. They go along to buy everybody else's players. That's who they are.
73.9 million, Brett.
I mean, it's just incredible. They've got they're as close to an Alabama roster under Nick Saban as you can get. But the problem is Nick Saban's not coaching Texas. It's Sarkisian. I'll give them the SEC conference this year out of just absolute sheer talent, plain and simple, and depth. But the next talented team in the conference, which I've got at third, is LSU once again. What was their payroll, Eric? I imagine $50 million.
LSU's was somewhere in the neighborhood of 53 million, I believe.
Yeah. And
57.4. 57.4.
And now Kiffin's trying to sign guys that are getting cut from NFL squads. I mean, that's what you get with a slime ball like Lane Kiffin. But he fits in really good in Baton Rouge, kind of like peas and carrots, as Forrest Gump would say. They're made for each other. It's a perfect landing spot for Lane. Georgia's going to always be there. Kirby's going to have a solid defense. He's a really good coach. I imagine just throwing spitballing. What was their payroll, around 38 or 40?
Georgia?
Yeah.
I don't have them listed on here, but
okay. They just
they're not over 50 million, I don't think.
no, and neither is Alabama. This is who I got in my preseason rankings, and I think your top four is probably going to finish this way. You could bump Georgia or LSU ahead of Texas. I'm leery. I mean, Sarkisian's not a horrible coach, but I mean, the unlimited payroll now for the third or fourth year at Texas, and they always seem to come up short. Texas A&M is back for probably another potential playoff run, depending on quarterback play. Oklahoma's always going to have a defense. This could be one of Tennessee's rougher years since Bobby from King of the Hill has become the head coach there. He's got a really unique, difficult defense to defend against. Nick Saban will say it's the toughest one he's ever defended against. Make you go sideline to sideline as opposed to hash, so to speak. New quarterback, a little thin on defense again. I think you will start seeing a drop-off this year with Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin and with Pete Golden at the helm. They lost quite a bit. They just do not have the NIL money that a lot of schools have. They just never will. I'm rooting for Ole Miss and Pete. They're always an underdog. Do not foresee them making another playoff run. And then your last 8, really. You know, the Vanderbilt coach has done a good job there, but now you don't have Pavia. You're starting over. Yes, you've got the most heralded high school quarterback from last year's class that you actually got from Texas, believe it or not. I don't know who ponied up on that money. But Auburn, new coach. Same thing with South Carolina and Missouri. They just don't have. I mean, again, this is you start looking at a lot of this. It's all payroll oriented. Of course, Florida's not, but it's another new coach. And I was very high on him in the offseason. With Auburn being Alabama's rival, I was pleased that he did not end up at Jordan-Hare in Auburn. I think he's going to do a good job at Florida, but he's taking over a mess. It's going to be a slow start. And then Kentucky, Mississippi State, Arkansas. We can just move on. I will say this. I do think Alabama is going to surprise some people this year. I looked at it, was so negative up until about a month ago. they're going to make some waves. But again, my question with them under DeBoer is line of scrimmage. This isn't the Pac-10. And I think ultimately the lines of scrimmage will end up getting us beat in the big games this year. But I can foresee Alabama 9-3 or 10-2 going to the playoffs with another first-round exit. But, you know, it's better than Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Kentucky. But I don't think Tennessee fans are liable to start calling for the head coach's head after this year. I think they're liable to have a rough season up in Knoxville. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on Ole Miss. Start going backwards. You can start trending them downward again. Again, back to Missouri and South Carolina, they're 7-5 or 8-4 teams at best. It's the type teams that you pull for, like me and Eric talk about, that just cannot compete with the payrolls now. But they're one or two splash players away from really, doing some damage in the conference. Because I think, other than your top, really, Texas, Georgia, and LSU, everyone else has got very similar rosters. Those three rosters, they're definitely, like I like to say, bought and paid for. But that's my preview of the SEC. It'll be an exciting year. There's always a team a lot better than what we think before the season starts, and a team a lot worse. I'm trending that Alabama is going to, and I know they're only preseason ranked 13th, but we'll see. They've got a hell of a 4-game stretch this year with A&M, Texas, Georgia, and LSU. If they can come out of that mess 2-2, then I think 10-2 is definitely a possibility. That's what I got, guys. What do y'all got?
So Brett, you notice on the NIL, I'm scrolling the top 6 spenders. NIL. Texas leads everybody at just under $74 million. Now, overall in Division I, there was $3.91 billion spent on nil. And of that, the SEC alone was $2.5 billion of that. So that's well over, that's 60%, 70% of the nil money was spent by the SEC.
Well, you've got Auburn that always tries to keep up with the Joneses, as we say. Tennessee, Oklahoma's trying to keep up with the Joneses. Florida, they've got 3 national championships in their history, and they've fallen on hard times, but they spend some money. There's 4 teams that are always right there at the cusp of really doing something, big when they have the right roster. So they always, typically, those schools probably overspend compared to their results. Did you ever find out Bama's payroll or no?
I can look it up quick.
I imagine they're going to be behind Texas, Georgia, LSU, Texas A&M, and maybe Tennessee, but they should be ahead of just about everybody else. Maybe Florida will be ahead of them.
So they are in the $35 to $38 million range, half of Texas's.
Hey. So, what me and Eric talk about behind the scenes is, if my team can't win it, I'm going to definitely pull against teams like Ohio State and Texas. Really, at what point, I'm sorry, people don't get rich. We've talked about this. People don't get rich by pissing money away. You start funding these programs 60 and 70 million every year, and I guarantee you it'll be 85 million next year. So that means it's going to be 90 next year. You give them 2 or 3 more seasons without winning a national championship, I'm telling you, some of these people are going to look at each other and just say, piss on this. I'm not throwing my money out the window. And that's going to come. And there's already rumblings of that. So that'll be interesting the next few years.
So you talk about that payroll for Alabama for just their players, as opposed to, let's talk about Rutgers. Everybody would agree that Rutgers is a bottom dweller, right?
Right.
Do you know what they pay their coaching staff currently? Just their coaching staff alone make $46.1 million.
At Rutgers?
Yeah, that gives you an idea of college football in general. What do you think? What do you think the colleges at a Texas, at a Georgia, at a, are making collectively as a coaching staff? The money in college football is scary right now.
Ridiculous.
It's stupid. Stupid.
It's why I 100% have soured a little bit on college football from the standpoint of a Missouri, for example. Unless they 100% catch lightning in a bottle, they're screwed.
Right.
Unless Mississippi State 100% catches lightning in a bottle, they're screwed because they are already behind the 8 ball. Well, it would be different if we were talking about Mississippi State being in the top 4, which means they've already been relevant for a year or two probably. Then they've got the ball rolling, they're going. But how do you get the ball rolling unless the money just comes flying in at some point? And
it's the same way. You take Iowa State, any of the mid-tier teams,
they're all dead in the water.
You take 2-star, you're recruiting 2-star and 3-star athletes, hoping that your coaching staff can turn them into 4s.
And then do they stay?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. The next year they turn around and go elsewhere.
Yeah.
There's no structure or organization to your point, Eric. It's chaotic.
Yeah, football and college football has really been soured. And I realize, if you're a Texas fan, yeah, of course you love it. If you're if you're an LSU fan, a Texas A&M fan, a Miami, Oregon, LSU, of course you love it. But college football is built more than just 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10 teams. And by doing what they're allowing to have happen, I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum. I mean, you have eliminated, what is there, 138 or 132 Division I teams? You've eliminated 122 of them.
Well, see, I hated both aspects of what we're talking about. I hated, the portal, and then I hated NIL. But I'm going to be honest with you. I've won my titles. Don't look. I'd love for Alabama to win every year until the day I die. That's not realistic. Ain't going to happen. And I'm already spoiled. I get that. So I was more open-minded 2 or 3 years ago about the portal because it did seem like it was leveling the playing field for teams like Iowa State, Houston, Nebraska. Because a lot of these guys, because Alabama and Georgia and a lot of the big boys, Ohio State, we were 2 and 3 deep. I mean, hell, we had 5 stars upon 5 stars sitting a bench. You could have started anywhere else. And so I was starting to enjoy the parity of that. But then, like y'all said, with the payroll aspect of it now, that is just throwing that shit right out the window. That it has totally overdone the portal because these guys ain't got zero ultimate. What's the guy that Ed mentioned earlier, the great wide receiver at Ohio State?
Jeremiah Smith.
Right. You know where he grew up wanting to play and his favorite team was and still supposedly is? Alabama. You know why he's at Ohio State? It damn sure ain't because he's an Ohio State fan. It's because they paid him more money. Now, that's a problem. That's a problem. Julian's saying, oh, yeah, by the way, their quarterback, where did he go first? Right? Alabama. Where's one of their best defensive tackles? It's got a huge Alabama thing on his arm. James Smith. Oh, yeah, he just played at Alabama. And it doesn't matter that I'm an Alabama fan. This is so sleazy and so grimy. Like I said, these guys used to go because, Coach Saban was at Alabama, or Orgeron was at LSU, or whoever was at Harbaugh was at Michigan, or, and all the history and tradition. These kids don't give a shit about none of that now. It's all about, oh, you're going to offer me $350? Oh, $425? Oh, $485? Yeah, wait, hold on a second. I mean, dude, something has got to be done because it's really, I just assume talk NFL now. and I've never been like that.
Well, and I don't blame them.
No.
If I'm an 18-year-old high school kid and I got LSU and I got USC on the horn and it's a freaking bidding war, I don't have any, loyalty to either one of them. Show me the money. I don't blame the kids.
Right.
It's just so
But
sleazy.
this name, image, and likeness stuff has gotten, listen, if that's the way you want to do it, that's fine. But you're going to have, like I said, there's 122 schools that don't mean anything other than, the people that graduated from them that show up on Saturdays to watch them play at home. That's all that matters anymore.
Right.
Because you're not competing for a natty. You're not going to have that flash in the pan class that happens where you're like, oh, man, we're relevant. This is awesome. It's just not going to happen.
Hey, who's handling the conference of Notre Dame tonight? Are we going to have our own separate section for the Notre Dame conference?
I should
And do the fight song music, Ed.
They're
Let's do it
playing
for
me
Dave.
and Eric and KJ in week 2. And if they beat me and KJ and Eric in week 2 and Ed, I think that'll lock them down for 10 wins and get them an automatic bid in the playoffs. Am I right?
You know what we
aren't
should
they-
have done? You know what we should have done? We should have had a special guest on tonight, John, and he could have
Broke down Notre Dame's conference?
He could have went through Notre Dame's schedule and told
Yeah.
us how painful it was.
Yeah.
Hey, it's never too late. What's their schedule?
They got a formidable game week 6 against the Cougars of the mountainous West, but that's the only one I'm seeing from a Big 12 lens.
Well, let's move on. Let's get to the ACC. So, KJ, we're gonna let you take it away.
Yeah, I'm just going to run through this one. It's pretty self-explanatory for folks that followed last year's season. I would say there's little change, so to speak, in the rankings here. Most of it was pretty indicative of that. One thing I did both for ACC and Big 12 rankings was kind of try to do a mathematical sum of averages, if you will, between where they ended the season, how they did from a ranking standpoint in the transfer portal, how they did in terms of freshman pickups, and then last but not least, number of starters that they lost either to the transfer portal or graduation. And nerding out like I always love to do for those who know me personally and know me well. These are the numbers that are set before you. I'll preface to say that the top positions are predicated on rankings, of course, obviously. Miami carrying what they carry, obviously, from the previous year. We all know they went to the dance. And then so following would be Louisville, SMU, and I believe that's where it caps off for the ACC in terms of AP poll rankings coming into this year. Outside of that, though, it's pretty much, like I said, an aggregate sum of those components. I don't know how the rest of the season is going to go for them. I think this is one of the first years, I would say, that I kind of like where FSU is sitting. I feel like they're in a realistic place. Finally stopped being overrated every season. But that's just me and my FS haterade kicking off. So it'll be interesting to see how their season goes. I feel bad for Boston College fans, as Eric and everybody here has already mentioned. The NIL is going to screw a lot of perennial teams that had a lot of pride and, even at least from a brand perspective, at least some notoriety, even if they weren't recently historically successful. Yeah, it is what it is. You got to kind of battle through it until things change. I'd be interested to see this season if SMU can make another run, but I know they've had their turnover as well. So being a fellow American Athletic Conference alum like my beloved Cougars, they're probably the one I'd be rooting for outside of like Georgia Tech this season within the ACC. But I know Miami still has a lot that they could do this season as well. So
the sleeper in the ACC, watch out for Louisville.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't call number 2 a sleeper so much, but yeah.
Well,
right.
but I'm talking about for college football playoffs.
CFP appearance. That's fair.
Yes,
That's fair.
Yes,
very true.
No, I'm not saying they're sleeper within the ACC, but I'm saying
no. Yeah. I hear that makes total sense. I would agree with you completely.
Schedule is very favorable. They do look really good.
Right.
I think if any team is going to challenge Miami in the ACC, I would say Louisville at this point. But again, there could be a sleeper in there somewhere that we just don't know about all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of truth to the fact that, most people already know the reality of, I think, both what the Big 12 and ACC faced this year, and that, getting over one opponent within the final kind of CFP bracket is going to be the biggest challenge for both holistic conferences, let alone whatever specific teams try their best to break the bubble there, or pierce the veil. So, I think that'll be the most exciting part to watch for those who aren't necessarily diehard ACC fans.
Who would have thought, when you look at the ACC over the years, that, teams that were always at the top of the ACC with Florida State and Clemson, talk about a fall from grace. I mean, is there ever a year you can remember that Clemson is in the middle of the pack like this? I mean, at what
This
point?
has got to be Dabo's last year to go off with your son.
At what point does his job get put on the line? I mean, I just don't see how this is going to be able to stand at Clemson.
I mean, he had what was it, fellas? It was 4 or 5 year run there at Clemson. And matter of fact, he played Alabama, I want to say, in 4 of the 5 years. It was 2 national championship games. 3 national championship games and a playoff game. And Alabama and Clemson and Dabo and Nick split. And then he had one other really good year where I think Ohio State beat them in the Sugar Bowl in the playoff game. And since then, they have fallen off a cliff. I mean, they had average old teams going to Clemson last year and just pistol whipping them. And now Dabo is playing the transfer portal game. He's go back and look at the last 4 or 5 recruiting classes. He's in the top 8, 10, 12 every year in recruiting. And he keeps bringing up those 2 national championships and mouthing off at his press conferences. But at what point, what kind of society we live in now, and what have you done for me lately?
Right.
I mean, they are progressively, like Ed mentioned, they're getting worse and worse and worse. And I would be floored looking at this if they finished any higher than 8 in the conference. And I'm going to tell you, my big sleeper in the conference, man, it's just down the road from us, KJ. What you talking about, brother? What you talking about? The rambling wreck of Georgia Tech. Watch out for Georgia Tech this year, baby. Watch out. Playoffs? Georgia Tech in the playoffs?
Well, when Dabo and Nick Saban were going toe-to-toe, and Nick Saban knew when it was time to get out because he didn't want to deal with all this crap. Debo, I think had similar thoughts to Saban. He just decided to stick it out, and now I wonder if he could do it all over again if he would have went into the limelight at the same time Nick did.
Yeah, I just think Dabo is just so much younger than Nick. And Dabo's from Birmingham, played for Stallings at Bama. And I've worked with people that are close friends with him that literally when they were playing Alabama, they were walking around with Clemson shirts being from Tuscaloosa because they love Dabo so much. He is very, very, very highly thought of from everyone that knows him. But I can't even, I know he had some really good assistants during that run, but my goodness, when he took over Clemson, what were they, a 6 or 7 win team, if that? And he built them up, and then to where you expect them in the top 10 every year. And now I don't foresee him being in the top 25 at the end of each season.
Their nil total for this year is about $25 million.
Oof.
Wow.
That'll hurt.
Compared to Texas's 74.
Well, and you look at Miami, I was shocked to see them in the top 5. I thought Michael Irvin and all the boys from the U had spent all their money on nose candy, but I guess they got some money from somewhere, didn't they?
Well, it just shows you how fast this shit's getting out of hand because when the NIL first started, they talked about the Ohio States and stuff that were paying 22 million. Like that was an ungodly amount. Now, like you talk, that's just low end nothing compared to these 75 million they're spending now, the top
What's
teams.
Florida State's NIL? Can anybody pull that up? I would guess no higher than 20.
I got it.
Florida State's got money problems. They really do. They have for years down there.
Football budget
I bet it's over that.
2026. They are sitting between 20 to 29 million.
Okay. I mean, what has happened?
So is there anything more on the ACC, or are we ready to move to the Big 12?
I'm just frankly slightly offended, Ed, that you would put the ACC ahead of my conference. I take that as a backhanded slap of disrespect.
That was that ACC and SEC are like.
I'm gonna give you a mulligan because Miami is in this conference, so I understand. You probably did it for the national champions, but it's all good. I'm not gonna.
They have some common ground that those two conferences kind of wallow in. So But let's move on to the Big 12. Eric's conference at heart still.
Is this one really that blurry? I know I did not send you a file this pixelated.
It's clean on my end.
Okay, maybe it's just mine, not buffering. I'll take the bandwidth L for that. My bad. So Big 12 we have here. Obviously, everybody knows that the Crimson Raiders from up north in the panhandle of Texas hold on to the number one spot despite their massive, colossal goose egg last year in the playoff, or I should say beginning of this year. But regardless, I kind of did the same thing, like I said, with ACC that I did with the Big 12 on their rankings outside of those that were AP ranked. So the only deviation from that, I would say, is I did not give Utah the benefit of the doubt. Call me biased if you want. That's fine. I don't understand how you can rank a team higher than us that literally has never beaten us. That just makes no any sense whatsoever to me. But I get they're probably riding the biased wave of their Pac-12 history from when it was actually a good conference. So that's neither here nor there. Big thing for Tech, I guess, to kind of go through with, developments of each team. Obviously, everybody on God's green earth knows about the Sorsby drama that occurred this offseason, mid to late summer, I think it was. Won't get into much of the specifics of that. But with Will Hammond taking over in the starting role now that he has kind of, dissolved with the metaphoric Thanos snap, I would say that it'll be interesting. I'd be interested to see how he does. His stats from previous seasons were not bad. He's ranked, I think, or he was fairly highly amongst the quarterback pool in the conference, but just not necessarily, in the top slow team because he wasn't the starter in last year. But I'll be interested to see how much he does. Obviously, Texas Tech has the benefit of having a very strong defense to, counteract maybe not having the number one QB in our conference. So I think that will aid them well. From a scheduling perspective, biggest thing I took account of was the fact that while Tech doesn't have the easiest schedule, I think the fact that they only play my Cougs as being their only ranked matchup is definitely in their favor. Not to mention the fact that it's, very early in the season. It's their first in-conference matchup. So if they're able to get over that hill, it's kind of like y'all said with, who was it in the Big Ten that y'all mentioned earlier? Had kind of
Penn State.
Penn State, yeah, like Penn State's right. I would say Tech has a similar vantage point because of where they came from in status last year, getting to the CFP, being at the top to start the season, and kind of just if they can maintain and not have to deal with, another theoretic undefeated team, or even if they face one in the championship and are able to beat them, it would be that kind of shoe-in being the conference champion. Caveat, I guess, to juxtapose that, I would say that from an optimal standpoint, if you're not looking for the easiest schedule in the conference, I do think Houston and BYU honestly have better schedulings just from the standpoint that they both play at least two ranked opponents. BYU's two matchups are Utah and Notre Dame. I say ranked as of this status now. Obviously, that can change as we proceed week by week through the season. Certain teams can fall out of their ranking. But if things remained the same, I would say that's the case. Same thing for Houston. We play Texas Tech and then Utah as well. So it'd be interesting. I think there could be, similarly to last season and maybe even the one before that, we're looking at a very likely possibility of, ending the season with a 3 to 4 way tie, I would argue, in terms of the final standings within the conference. So while I didn't move them up a ton, everybody's talked a lot about OSU being somewhat of a dark horse, at least from the standpoint of having a huge rebound from the win-loss perspective. I'm not going to say they're not going to do that. But outside of them,
5 wins would be a huge rebound. Casey.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's where I'm not. Yeah, I'm getting there. And that's to that credit, I guess. Like I said, as I already kind of mentioned, with how I averaged things and their respective turnover, from a conference holistic perspective, Oklahoma State was number 2 in the transfer portal. So they let go of a lot of players, but they did it with the mindset of we're going to cut clean shop, rebuild completely. So I think that's something that can be respected, and we'll see how it pans out actually as the season progresses. They weren't the highest on NIL spend per se, but I think they were obviously strategic in how they attacked the transfer portal to come out almost on, top of the entire conference. So that's something to speak to their credit of. Obviously, I'm high on my Cougars to do well with our schedule and having Connor Wagner return. We did lose some starters, not having Tanner Koziel come back this season because he's now in the NFL, but we do have another tight end kid, I forget his name, coming up in his stead. And they also picked up a good running back. I believe the kid from Tulane that was actually under Willie Fritz, 2 years ago, transferred in. So he's continuing to bring some of his tutelage into the program in Houston, which is exciting to see, obviously, and helps, I think, contribute to the foundational culture that, Willie's always known for building with every team he's leading. So be exciting to see how that develops through the course of the year. Colorado, everybody, Prime gets all the airtime, and they did spend a lot. They are number 3 out of the conference in terms of NIL spend, but at 23.2 mil. But I don't think a lot of people have very high hopes. So I don't know. We'll see how it pans out. I think I had them ranked higher than they finished the season in terms of win-loss standpoint, but that was primarily because of kind of what they spent and then, transfer and everything else grading into that aggregate average. So.
Hey, thanks for putting Iowa State at 13. I feel like that's pretty generous considering we turned the whole roster over.
Hey, I tried to take out as much bias as possible outside of the whole Utah versus Houston dichotomy. Outside of that, yeah, I was pretty just stuck with the numbers, got mathematical with it, and let things lie where they were. So,
well, I did find Notre Dame's conference schedule. Since I know John David's still listening because he made a comment there. Everybody hold on to your seats. I don't know how Notre Dame finishes in the top 12 with a schedule this difficult. They lead off with Wisconsin. I think they were on your practice squad. Then powerhouse Rice comes to town.
Oh, my God. I forgot about that.
Followed by another Big Ten practice squatter, Michigan State. Then another, hold your hats, practice squatter, Purdue. Then, I just have to double check for posterity. Oh, the number 13 team ranked in the power rankings out of the ACC, North Carolina. And then Stanford, wait a second. Oh, the number 14 team in the ACC comes to town. And then, as John David would say, I believe it's Little 12 garbage. Little 12 garbage BYU. They have to go to BYU. Oh no.
Oh my God.
And then
there it is. There's the upset special.
Hold on to your hats. Hold on to your hats. They have to go to Navy. That is a brutal schedule. BYU and Navy back to back. Oh, and then they have Miami at home. So those 3 games, BYU, Navy, Miami. sounds
we're
very
not
similar
we're
to
not talking Miami of Florida. We're talking.
no Miami,
we're talking-
Florida. That's their one game, I think. But I mean, that's very similar to having like Michigan, Ohio State, and Oregon back to back. And then let me check the ACC monitor again. We've got the bottom feeder in the ACC in the power rankings coming to town on the 14th, and then SMU, the number 3 team in the SEC, comes knocking into Notre Dame, and then number 16 in the ACC, Syracuse, to finish the season up. I don't know how Notre Dame stays in the top 12 with a schedule like that. I don't know, guys. What do you think? I mean,
Notre Dame will be 5-0 and be ranked in the top 5. How much you want to bet?
I mean, they'll have Notre Dame in number 2 spot by the time they play Miami.
What was that? What was that rule that they passed last year? That for this year, something about if you're ranked as is it 15
top 12?
or,
Top 12.
you automatically are going to make
automatically get a bid.
So guess where Notre Dame's going to be ranked?
Where are they starting off the season? Are they like number
4 in the AP poll?
5, yeah. Start them high enough. I'm sorry, Brett, but just like they used to with Alabama, start them high enough. They drop a loss. You only drop them 2 spots, and then somebody ahead of them loses, and boom, they're in the college football playoff. That's how it goes, man.
I'm just going to be cheering my heart out for the metaphoric cousin Cougs in BYU and my good old uncle's alma mater in Navy. If we get 2 back-to-back losses, that'll kick them right off the board.
I think I need to go to the cabinet and get a shot just for all the Notre Dame fans after going through a schedule like that. Whew.
So one college hot topic that I wanted to hit before we went to our NFL segment. No, that isn't the one.
That ain't the one. Which one is it?
This is the one.
Misfire.
Should college players that still have eligibility that left early to go to the NFL and didn't make the squad and got cut, should they be allowed to return to college if they were unsuccessful on an NFL roster? And the argument was, and I believe today Lane Kiffin, we found out, has 16 players on his roster that fit that very mold of players that still have eligibility left that didn't make the NFL squads. And he wants them back on his roster, but has the fact, in old school days, of course, they were amateurs, and if they signed with an NFL agent and money exchanged hands, they lost their amateur status. Well, now with all the money involved in college football now, that's all changed. So since there's money involved, even when they're playing in college, what's your thoughts on if they do go to the NFL and don't make it and they come back, should they be able to finish out their college?
Even though I don't agree with this, I think once you go pro, you're done, no matter what it is. But did Lane Kiffin break any rules?
Not yet, right?
I'm just saying.
Yet, I don't think.
You may look
He's
at
alluding
it as,
to doing what most people have frowned upon, but he hasn't yet.
You may look at it as sleazy. You may look at it however you want, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. But I'm telling you, did he break any rules?
He's walking the line. That's all it is.
So
if he didn't break any rules, then how can we be mad about it?
So it's funny you say that because all the Power 4 conferences come out.
They all made
and they all said no, those players can't come back. In fact, the SEC jumped on board today, and they come out with penalties if programs are caught doing it. Punishment's going to include 50% season suspension for head coaches, 50% of the sport's annual operating budget gone. SEC voting privileges on business matters are revoked. So the SEC has taken a very firm stance that this ain't going to fly. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Big Ten has followed suit. I don't know
Big
if
12
they're-
has as well. Yep.
I don't know if they're the same penalties as what the SEC is invoking, but we've always pushed to players that went to the NFL that maybe didn't have their college degree yet. We always encourage them to go back and get that degree. If they're not going to make it with an NFL team and they still have eligibility left and they want to go back and get their degree, so to speak.
They can still go back and get their degree, but they can't play football.
Football, yeah. It's a different thing. Can we put up Mr. David's comment, Ed? I think I have to contest the exact specific language that he used because I don't think he actually stated it correctly. Maybe I'm wrong. Can you not define? I know it's not a full season extending contract, but don't even the draft picks, the new signees sign a tentative contract to play the preseason games?
Yeah, even practice squad players. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So yeah, change your verbiage there, John. You're incorrect. Your Notre Dame graduate degree is showing. So just wanted to throw that out there since he likes to brag so much on his extreme level of superiority over every other university.
So Brett, did you want to do the college villain moment, or do you want us to?
Oh, absolutely. He's a piece of shit. Let's do it.
Okay, let's put him up. Hold on a second. Here we go. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong picture.
Oh, wrong one.
I told you what he was.
Wrong one. There it is. Wrong one.
I mean, this guy just.
That does look like a Cheshire Cat smile right there, Brett, I have to say.
Dude, I'm going to tell you, and I'm big on second chances. He even says now that his phone was not ringing. Nick brought him Tuscaloosa. He started calling games, started doing a good job. Then he's going to take the Florida Atlantic job. He ain't doing his job right before the national championship game, and Saban has to send him on his way. Left Alabama in a mess. And, of course, he goes from Florida Atlantic to Ole Miss, the only real big-time Power 5, Power 4 school that would give him a shot. And to Lane's credit, he brought Ole Miss to heights they haven't been since the late 60s, only to pull the rug out from underneath them right before the playoffs last year. Then he tries to bully the coaches. Well, you ain't going to coach in the playoffs or you ain't going to be able to come to LSU. He tried that mess. Then he tried he pulled the good old race card a month or two ago in recruiting, saying it was so much tougher to recruit at Ole Miss because of the racial division and all the that goes on in the Mississippi, which Lord knows it never went on in Louisiana back in the day, only in the state of Mississippi, mind you, not in Alabama, not in Tennessee, not in Georgia, just in Mississippi. So he went low bridge on them there. What else has he done? Now he's, Eric was just defending a little slimy piece of shit with what is not illegal yet, but is going to be illegal. He's just such a scumbag. And I know that he wanted the Alabama job so bad. I get that, and I can appreciate that somewhat. But he never got a phone call when Nick retired. He's just not a good person. And it's okay. There's plenty of bad people out there, but it has nothing to do with him being at LSU and everything to do with just how he did, Ole Miss. And he continues, pulling the old race card. No, Lane, that don't have shit to do why it was tougher at Ole Miss to recruit than LSU. You got the second highest payroll in the SEC. You called everybody but me to go and play in Baton Rouge. The dude is just. When is he going to be run for senator or congressman? He's just such a fucking sleazebag, and I can't help but hope that LSU never wins a national championship as long as he's the coach, and he falls flat on his face on another tarmac like he did out when he was with USC. And that's really my, I don't have strong feelings about it, but that's just how I feel.
Well, we're gonna turn the page quick here because we're running behind schedule. So let's go ahead and take a quick break and hear from once again our sponsor for season 4, which is Wild Sun Winery. Let's hear from them, and when we come back, we are going to get into the NFL. We'll be right back.
NFL time.
Did you see the comment that my friend Marty made in the comment section?
I did.
Yeah, in fact,
I don't know if Ed and Eric know that acronym well.
Must be talking about Insane Clown Posse, baby.
Yep, insane clown posse. Like that, who needs enemies? And speaking of enemies, I gave a shout out to old Rapoli earlier today. Just a heads up.
Just a heads up. All right. Let's get the NFL power rankings before we run out of time. There we go. Got them. All right, here we go. The NFL preseason power rankings. Number 1, the Super Bowl favored Los Angeles Rams at 550, I believe. They're older. Myles Garrett is obviously there. Rumor is Aaron Darnold has been practicing, is possibly coming back. That could be a real problem with the Los Angeles defense. So we'll see. Can Matthew Stafford's back handle another run? Time will tell. Buffalo Bills, I don't know. I think they're new coaching staff with Brady. Sometimes, we've talked about it ad nauseum that they just weren't going to win together. So now he's got a new coach. Can they make it happen? I don't know. But, Josh Allen's time is going to be ticking here. And Buffalo is going to have to do something here real quick. Seattle, I know this pains Ed a lot. But I think, Sam Darnold and the Seahawks are going to be right back up there. They did lose 4 starters off of their Super Bowl winning team. But I think Seattle with they're 15-2 the last 2 years in road games. So I think they're probably packed to be one of the top teams in the NFC again. This one's probably debatable because they also could be a team that could potentially fall back a little bit. The Denver Broncos, Bo Nix healthy, ready to roll. Sean Payton, obviously, is a good football coach. We shall see where he takes the Broncos this year. 5, the Eagles. I guess we could debate this one too. A lot of people are calling for the Dallas Cowboys to walk away with that division, but we'll talk about it when we kind of break down the who we think is going to win the division, we'll see where the bottom line crew shakes out. But I do have Philadelphia at 5. The Texans, C.J. Stroud has led the Texans to 3 playoff appearances, but it's not C.J. Stroud that is the problem in Texas. In Houston, it's the defense. The defense is scary. The defense is predominantly young, could be a group that's together for a long time. Then I have New England Patriots in 7. However, I do think that the Patriots could take a step back. They could be one of those teams that fall. They don't have the schedule that they had last year. But I guess until the season gets rolling, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, put them in 7. Baltimore, again, new coaching staff. We said that Harbaugh and Lamar couldn't win it together. So in comes the new coach. Maybe this is a year that Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens make a little noise. Number 9, the Chicago Bears. Again, another team that you could argue could take a fall backwards. But I think the biggest question mark in Chicago is not Ben Johnson, the offense. I think the biggest question mark in Chicago is going to be, is the defense going to be able to generate turnovers? Is the defense going to be any good? I guess we'll see. Brett obviously feels the same pain that I do, but Chicago's at number 9. Paying me to put the Green Bay Packers at 10, but it seems like, year in and year out, Green Bay's always there. I would love to have them in the remaining field, but I have them at number 10. 11, the Chargers. Harbaugh, Herbert, all the guys are healthier. He wants to run the football. I think the Chargers have a real chance to challenge in the AFC West. Number 12. This could be the San Francisco 49ers last year to do anything if they can stay healthy. They are one of the oldest teams in the NFL. Kittle is back. He's been practicing. But if they can't stay healthy, I think it may be time to start cutting bait in San Francisco and kind of reset the clock a little bit. Some people have the Detroit Lions higher. And here's the deal. In the NFC North, probably the most stacked division as far as top to bottom. I think it was the only division last year with every team had a winning record. Am I correct? Is that correct, Ed? Or am I missing something?
I believe you are correct.
So Detroit could easily end up in the top, 5 or could easily fall out. Time will tell. Cincinnati, another team that, Joe Burrow. Okay, Joe Burrow's healthy. Got Higgins and Jamar Chase. Are they going to be able to, make a run after the promise of going to the Super Bowl, going to the AFC title game, and then just kind of falling off due to injuries and the like? Cincinnati has similar problems, I think, that Chicago does. The defense. Can the defense hold up? Can the defense, keep teams from scoring to give the offense a chance to put points on the board? That'll be the biggest question. Cincinnati. And number 15, I always say if you have Patrick Mahomes, you have a chip in a chair. So it was very fitting when you made these power rankings that you have it on poker chips, KJ. I like that. Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes comes back for healthy from his injury last year. Kansas City is always going to be a dangerous team. However, Travis Kelce has a lot of tread wore off those tires. Wide receiver core. Are they going to be able to get open? Can Kansas City's defense, hold other teams in? A lot of question marks in Kansas City. But I think with Patrick Mahomes on that team, they definitely deserve a top 15 spot. You can see the remaining field. The Cardinals, I don't see them doing much. I see them as bottom feeders in the division. The Falcons, Panthers, the Buccaneers. Somebody's got to win that division. The Saints. Somebody's got to win that division. Even though they're not,
Unfortunately, they do.
even though they're not in my top 15, the Falcons, the Panthers, the Saints, or Bucks, one of them's going to be in the playoffs by default.
Right, but once again, I see that whole division possibly having a losing record.
Right.
Um,
But
and
one of them's
Falcons
gonna-
just lost their two big pass rushers during spring training as well.
yeah. But I mean, somebody's got to win that division. So I guess it just is, even though they're not in the top
Young
15.
and the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. The Steelers, we'll see. The Cowboys, a lot of people are buying the Cowboys. Buy the Cowboys. Buy the Cowboys.
They buy them every year.
They buy them every year. And every year it's the same song and dance. Is it a different Dak Prescott? I don't know. Is the Cowboys defense better? I don't know. I mean, so I guess time will tell. Maybe the Cowboys sneak into the top 10, but for now they're going to remain in the field for me. And the Commanders, when we talk about the divisions, I'll, probably tell you why I don't see the Commanders making much noise playoff-wise or other. One of the biggest sleeper teams, I think, in the remaining field, there's actually two of them. The first one is the Giants. I think the Giants could be a big-time sleeper team. All the way with the potential to win the division. If they stay healthy, obviously. And the other sleeper team, and because they made the decision that I tried to get them to make a long time ago, but apparently I'm smarter than the Minnesota head office, is the Vikings. I think the 4 teams in the NFC North are talented. If Kyler Murray can get on the same page, if the little Oompa Loompa can see over the line and, get the ball to Jeffries, get the ball to Addison, Minnesota could be a real dangerous team. So I think the Minnesota Vikings and New York Giants are probably my two sleeper teams. I'm not going to make the Cowboys a sleeper team because I just don't. There's nothing I like about the Cowboys. So they're going to have to prove it on the field before that happens. Mike, the Jets could be a sleeper team, man. I don't know, dude. The Jets are the Jets, man. The Jets have just my entire lifetime has been spent watching the Jets be bad. So I guess I'll leave the Jets at prove it if you want to be in the top 15. But that's the top 15, and then the remaining field boys, go ahead and pick it apart. That's where I'm at.
I'm getting so sick. I'm getting so sick of every year. Green Bay Packers. Look out for the Green Bay Packers. And Jordan Love is a MVP candidate. And, oh, my God, look out for the Packers. How many years in a row now have they not finished in the top half of the division? But during the season, oh, look out for those Packers. They can make a run. Look out for those Packers.
I agree 100%.
Once again this year, look out for the Packers. And I'm like, what have they done? Not only have they done nothing during the offseason, but they lost their best defensive guy for 6 weeks?
Something like that.
So I don't understand what makes everybody think that they're, well, in your case, that they're a top 10 team.
Well, here's why. And again, my complete disdain for the Green Bay Packers is year in and year out, regardless of what they do in the playoffs, they win 10, 11, 12 games. And, until somebody in the North, the Bears, the Lions, Minnesota, decide they're going to completely bury them and put the Green Bay Packers to sleep, kind of like the Eagles have done with the Cowboys. But here we go again, a new year, and they're talking about the Cowboys running away with the division and blah, 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 blah. They're just a team that just never goes away.
So Philadelphia Eagles lose A.J. Brown. they're completely revamping their offense.
Is that a bad thing though?
What?
That's my
But
question.
what gives them? But what have they done? Looking at how they finished last year, what have they done that makes them so lofty at number 5
Well,
to start the season?
First of all, I mean, their defense is good, and I'm a defensive guy. I like what the Rams did defensively. I love Seattle's defense. I love Denver's defense. I love Philadelphia's defense. I love Houston's defense.
Hey, Eric.
so-
Eric.
Yeah.
Eric. What do the Bears do on defense? Asking for a friend.
And
They are ranked as high as they are simply because I have faith in Ben Johnson. So we
you
will see.
didn't mention Minnesota's defense, but
But the biggest question mark to me is for Minnesota, can Kyler Murray be Sam Darnold like Sam Darnold was that year?
Eric
Because go ahead.
Eric and I were having that discussion, and we said, you know what's going to happen, plain as day. Sam Darnold, Vikings don't sign him. They lose him. Seattle grabs him, wins a Super Bowl championship in year 1. Now this year they've got Kyler Murray signed to a 1-year deal.
$1 million.
$1 million. And if the Vikings, if he puts together a good year and say they finish above 500 or even make the playoffs, you don't think that Minnesota's not going to be afraid to make the same mistake twice, and they're going to throw the bag.
Yep.
They're going to throw the bag at Kyler Murray so they don't make that same mistake.
But
And then when Kyler Murray becomes Kyler Murray again, oh my God! I just don't see this.
Minnesota is in the predicament they're in because clearly nobody in the Minnesota front office watches the bottom line, because they would have known that drafting J.J. McCarthy was the dumbest thing that they could have done. What did I say? He played for Michigan. They didn't even throw passes in the whole second halves of games because they were just running the ball down people's throats. And then they say, well, Kevin O'Connell, he can turn him around. McCarthy, great. Legendary college quarterback, led Michigan. That's where it ends. And what does Minnesota do? What do? We're going to draft J.J. McCarthy. Listen.
Nine.
Number 9.
That's the German 9, right? Not the number.
Nine.
Niners.
Yeah.
In order for Kyler Murray to have the same production as Sam Darnold, wouldn't he have to wear some like high top cleats, Eric? Or am I mistaken?
Yeah. I already saw a picture of Kyler Murray's cleats. They're like 4 inches long, man. He's like wearing high heels.
Stiletto cleats.
He's wearing high heels.
That's perfect for the Vikings because they're cheerleaders match. Let's go.
Not only does J.J. McCarthy lose the contest with Kyler Murray for the starting job
without taking a snap in preseason, by the way.
but now he's in jeopardy of not even getting the backup role.
Yeah.
They're talking about naming Carson Wentz as the backup quarterback to Kyler Murray.
So, Ed, tell me this, and I mean this with all sincerity because you're a Viking fan, and I like the Vikings way more than I like the Green Bay Packers. I will root for the Vikings. If the Bears are out of it, I will always root for the Vikings. Yeah. I couldn't root for the Green Bay Packers if I had $1 million on them. I just couldn't.
Put them in your top 10 list, though.
Well, because I'm trying to be legit, but explain to me. I told you from day one. And as a Viking fan, I know when you're a fan of a team, you're like, nope, he's going to be good. We're going to be fine. It's McCarthy's team now, blah, blah. Why is it that a guy sitting in a cornfield in the middle of Iowa could see this happening with McCarthy as plain as the nose on my face. But Minnesota, with all the stuff that they have, with all the ability that they have to break things down and, look at this and look at that and look at film and do this, do that. How do you miss so bad on a quarterback like McCarthy?
Well, I would say definitely the GM on that deal. That was definitely. Can we take the power rankings down now?
Strike the tape at 1 hour and 30 minutes, because heaven forbid one of these days, one of these years, if J.J. McCarthy ends up being that stud, I can play this back and make Eric listen to the whole thing.
What? Okay.
Over. And all I'm going to do is say 9.
But
9.
What is it going to take?
9.
Like, what type of magical Harry Potter football school is he going to have to go to? I mean, I heard this today on Cowherd. He goes, Sam Darnold. I could put a highlight tape together of Sam Darnold when he's with the Jets and whatever. You can't even find B-roll to put together for McCarthy, and he's right.
Man, it was definitely a fireable offense by the GM making that move. I mean, it wasn't Mitch Trubisky bad, but he the guys made some other good picks. Minnesota's had a rough string of, people passing away in car wrecks. I mean, they have had some rough luck in the draft, but the McCarthy thing to me, it's definitely a fireable offense. They've got to move on from who made that pick.
I can at least put a highlight tape together of Trubisky's first year before Nagy decided to keep him in the pocket and not let him run, which is what he was good at.
Yeah, but we traded everything but our franchise for that pick, and I still remember my reaction right over here when we did it. It just
my reaction was Mitch who, but the same reaction was the same reaction was we had our draft special, Ed. What did I say when they took McCarthy? Immediately when they said the Minnesota Vikings with the 10th or 11th pick select quarterback out of Michigan, J.J. McCarthy. What did I say immediately?
No!
I didn't say that. I was like, thank God Minnesota took that bump. He's thrown like 10 passes his entire college career because Michigan played defense and all I did was run the ball, and that masked how bad of an NFL quarterback J.J. McCarthy was going to be. Probably a great kid. Again, college legend at Michigan, fine. But that doesn't make you an NFL quarterback. And how is it, like I said, a guy that sits in a cornfield all winter long and summer long, of the games that I saw of him, how can I look at that tape and go, ooh, I don't think this kid's going to be able to throw at the NFL level. But yet Minnesota sees him and says, first rounder, top 15, got to take him.
It's amazing what unplugging from the hustle and bustle of society can do for your mental continuity, Eric. When it's just silence out in nature, you can make educated thoughts.
Well, I mean, it shows you there that what they've always said about the NFL, a lot of it is a good old boy network. And if we were born and raised in it, like I was born and raised in the industry I was in, we'd probably be able to make the same stupid ass decisions that they're making and get paid a lot of money to do it.
I don't know, but that's why. I mean, and you're right, Ed. Minnesota's they're gonna throw Kyler Murray a bag, because I think Minnesota. I mean, if Kyler Murray can get that connection down with Addison and Jeff, there's no question Minnesota's going to be a tough out because their defense is always good. But what if Murray turns into Murray? Then what?
Well, and what I can't get past is the fact that, okay, you look at offensive linemen these days, they're all 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", 350 pounds. So they're going to look like a frickin' brick wall. And then you got this 5'6" Kyler Murray
Oompa Loompa.
dropping back to throw the ball, and all he's going to see is a whole row of asses. So I don't know, man. Unless they roll him out of the pocket, I just don't know how you can consistently see your receivers over the middle of the field.
You've got to roll out and do a lot of halfback passes. I would imagine, to the flats, because like you said, they can't. I mean, I'm 5'9.5", 5'10" on a tall day. He can't see over them guys. He can't. I mean, you just.
It is what it is, man. So I mean, yeah. Now Minnesota could be the surprise team, and they could go to the playoffs, and then they're going to throw Kyler Murray the bag, and then he's going to turn into Kyler Murray, and Minnesota's going to be right back to where they started.
I'm going to say this right now. Minnesota's going to have a better record than Green Bay. I think you're dead wrong on that, Eric. I'm really, and it would be so nice if I'm right. But I think Green Bay.
Hope you're right.
I think Green Bay is straight up cooked. I mean, I really do think they are cooked. We'll see.
I hope you are right. I hope the Green Bay that lost to Cleveland.
And who got a surprise on their birthday? That I have 2 tickets and a flight to Minneapolis. I will be there at the Viking Packers home opener in Minnesota with my lovely wife. With my lovely wife, doing the
Row. Yeah, I forgot. I was doing skull, but the same difference.
Yeah.
I'll be rolling, and my wife will be sculling. We'll be rolling and sculling.
Hey, so y'all headed to Minneapolis, just make sure not to wear any ice apparel or bulletproof vest.
Just remember, Brett, when Ed starts giving us crap about all the time we talk about Chicago, we just burned over 10 minutes of our show talking about Minnesota. So let's bank that for future. All right. Let's do a little round table. Division winners. Early in the season, 2 games deep into preseason. Let's start with the NFC, and let's go with the NFC East. Who wins, in your opinion? I'll start with Brett. Who wins the NFC East, in your opinion?
Man, Marty's going to love me for this. Marty going to love me. I'm telling you, I've been hot and bothered. I've been the guy that rearranged the odds in Vegas. The reason why Dallas Cowboys are the favorite to win the division is because of me and our podcast. Trust me. How about them damn Cowboys for once? They are going to win the division. I got to give Jerry Jones credit for the first time since 1989. Look, their offense hasn't been the problem for the last half a dozen years. It's been the defense. Well, look at their signings. Look at their draft picks. Oh, by the way, they just signed Von Miller. Oh, yeah, they just re-signed the big boy from Bama. Nobody can steal block. They just signed or drafted Caleb Downs, which will be, if he stays healthy, a future NFL Hall of Famer. Them Cowboys overtake Philadelphia and win the division. Now, what are they going to do in the first round of the playoffs? We already know.
Yeah, Chris,
but they will win the division this year.
Chris misunderstands. The conference championship is their Super Bowl, or the division championship, I should say. Yeah. That is their Super Bowl.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear from the Tisdale checking in. He says he's heard out about the Cowboys for the last 30 years.
The first time you've heard it from me. The first time you've heard it from me, though.
I like that. KJ, who you got in the NFC East?
I'll concur with Brett. I mean, we've seen nobody should, I should say, be acting like this is unforeseen territory or somehow unexpected or exciting to think that they could win their division. They've done it before. I don't see much longevity beyond that. But I think, I mean, Dak has a ceiling, as many other quarterbacks do. I would contest Brett's claim a little bit on the offensive side of things, only because if defense is truly the issue, while I would grant you in any championship contending game, you want to be the team with the lead playing defense and holding off that offensive drive, because not every quarterback is Tom Brady. That being said, I think you still have to have a quarterback with some caliber of ability to make a comeback drive. And that is where I would say Dak's sadly his Achilles heel has been in a lot of their setup past playoff flumbles or dissolves that they've had in past seasons when they made that far. So, but yeah, I'd easily grant them the division lead.
Ed, who you got?
I got Philadelphia, New York, and Dallas staying pretty much neck and neck the whole season. And I see New York or Philadelphia squeaking it out at the end. I just think, as talented as Dallas is, they were talented last year, and Minnesota went into Dallas and kicked their ass in the second half. So I don't know. Dallas, I agree with you, Brett. They had a lot of good signings in the offseason on defense. All the barometers point towards Dallas being on the rise, but it's always the same story with Dallas. They're going to find a way to crash and burn. So is it going to be the consistency of Philadelphia or the up-and-coming New York Giants? It just comes down to whether they can keep their quarterback on the field this year and not have him in the injury tent the whole time. So I'll go out on a limb, and I'll go with the Giants.
That's not on a limb, because I'm taking the New York Football Giants in the NFC East. One, because I really can't take the Cowboys. That would be like taking the Packers in the North. Not going to happen. But I think when coaching matters, who are you going to take? Harbaugh or the dude in Dallas, Brett? Who are you taking, Brett?
How did Harbaugh do in Baltimore the last couple of years?
Baltimore has won playoff games. They have been to, I think, the title game once.
They haven't won many playoff games.
No, but neither is Dallas. So we're splitting hairs there.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the New York.
I said was I had a strong feeling Dallas was going to make the playoffs. Now, once they win the division, make the playoffs, my feeling kind of goes away like a fart in a hurricane. We ain't talking Super Bowl or whatever. We're talking about the division.
Okay, let's talk about the powerhouse NFC South. And I'll start. Do you know who I think wins the NFC South this year? The New Orleans Saints.
Ooh.
I am taking the New Orleans Saints to win, make the playoffs, probably with a losing record.
I was going to say 7-10 or 8-9.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Brett. I was going to say the winner of that division will be 8-9, possibly 7-10.
But I am
playing a wild card team that's 12-5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
At home.
I am taking the New Orleans Saints. Ed, who you got?
Oh God, you stole my thunder, but I'll go with a different team. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay could sneak in there, and again, I think the winner of that division can get through at 8-9, and I think Tampa Bay with Mayfield at quarterback, I think they can definitely pull off an 8-9 season. So I'll go with Tampa Bay.
KJ?
I used to be one of the biggest Baker Mayfield haters on God's green earth. Relished at every opportunity that we had to sack him when he was in college at OU, see him lose his starting role in Cleveland against Case Keenum. It was all relishing, repetitive steps, but in the long run, it humbled him. He's become a better quarterback, and I actually have turned into an advocate or a fan of his. So I will definitely be rooting for the Bucs to win out in the NFC South.
Brett?
You know, I really agree with KJ on the Baker Mayfield feelings. I didn't really have a problem with him so much at Oklahoma. I thought his behavior might have been a little bit too much, but again, he's an undersized quarterback, so I always root for the underdog. So I was rooting for him, you know, once he got into the NFL. And then, of course, the team that ends everybody's career as a quarterback, the Cleveland Browns, took him, and by God, he somehow overcame that and has been decently successful in Tampa. But the Panthers, my boy Bryce Young, and some of the – I just keep waiting for the owner to do what he has done ever since he's bought the team and screw it up, but they're trending in the right direction. Give me the Carolina Panthers and a mighty 9-8 record to take the NFC South.
All right, moving along to the NFC West. The NFC West could also, minus the Arizona Cardinals, be the toughest division in football. I think, well, it isn't my turn. KJ, I'm going to give you the NFC West first. So you can make the preferential first pick.
Aside from him pulling like a late postseason willing botch throw to actually purposely lose the game so he doesn't have to go back to California to lose more money in taxes after playing in the Super Bowl again, I still think the Seattle Seahawks had the talent to make it there. I don't know if Darnold wants to go there again to lose money, but I will be rooting for Seattle to make another run, at least through their division.
Brett?
Man, I'm as high as the Penn State Nittany Lions co-ed department, but for the wrong reason, a different reason. On the Los Angeles Rams, we all know we watched all season. Right now, NFC is once again a power conference. There was no doubt the Rams was the second best team in the NFL last year. Can't we agree? For the most part,
for sure.
And now you bring on Myles Garrett, if he can stay healthy with how many years he spent in Cleveland going 3-13 and getting 12, 14 sacks. Look, I'm happy for Myles. And then you got Aaron Donald, which, by the way, he's been retired for a couple of years. He's still been working out like an animal. If he can come back and make an impact, I'm not saying he's going to be pre-retirement Aaron Donald. I'm not only the Rams winning the division, I got the Rams winning the Super Bowl. And that's, you know, healthy-ish because there's injuries in football. We all know that. But if they can stay healthy-ish at the right position, I think they win the Super Bowl. So give me the Rams.
Ed?
I think for the second year in a row, you're going to see Seattle and the Rams going toe-to-toe. And last year, they kept showing the sideline old Sean McVay standing there, and you could tell he was just as mad as hell because Seattle was a complete team, and they just couldn't get past them. I think the Rams and the Seahawks go toe-to-toe for the whole season, but I still look for Seattle, whether it's tiebreaker or maybe by a game. I look for Seattle to win the division. But the Rams will definitely make it as a wild card.
I think this could be Matthew Stafford's one. I mean, if not his last year, one of his last opportunities. Yeah. And I think if his back stays good, he stays healthy. You know, I think that taste in his mouth of losing to Seattle last year is going to motivate him. Defense is obviously better. I think they may have overtaken Seattle to that little bit that they needed last year with Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald potentially coming back. I'm going to take the Rams. So we're split, 2 Seattle, 2 Rams. Finally, in the NFC North, I'm going to make a surprising pick. Even though my beloved Bears won it last year, I am going to take, for one reason and one reason only, I am taking the Detroit Lions. And I'll tell you why.
That's shit. That ain't even going out on a limb.
It is, because the Bears are defending champs.
They got the easiest schedule in the whole freaking.
That's exactly why I'm taking the Lions. They have the easiest freaking schedule.
I would
in the NFC North.
It's not a limb if you know they have the easiest.
Well, it is. They can still lose games. I mean, come on.
Fair.
I mean, Jesus, that's.
I mean, they do have the juggernaut kicker, though. Come on, Eric, you got to play it fair if you're going to.
And Jared Goff is still a very good quarterback. You know, as long as Dan Campbell isn't going for it on 4th and 6 from their own 30, I mean, Detroit has a chance to take the division back. We'll see, but I'm going to take Detroit. Ed, taking the Vikings.
I got Detroit too. I think last year was an anomaly, but I think that this year he'll get them focused again with a big change from a first place schedule to a 4th place schedule in the division. Looking at their schedule, I think Detroit wins by default just because the NFC North is gonna beat on each other during the year, but I think they're out of division schedule is where Detroit will make the run. So I got Detroit.
KJ?
I have not studied their off seasons this year to see all the changes that occurred, I will admit. So I'll take the minor money line on sticking with the Bears since you bunch of diehards are flaking on your own team.
No.
Not flaking.
I know.
I'm just trying not
You're
to be
being
a homer.
real. You're being real. That's fair. No, I would
being real.
I would probably ride with the Lions, but this is a very minute observation, but I would say and it's probably not a fair one because obviously we've already talked how much the Browns suck. But seeing how well the Bears have done through 2 games of preseason, at least to me, shows some level of depth in their roster, which I think is encouraging, especially in the NFL. You got to have that to go the long haul for the most part, depending upon what team you are. We've already seen, seasons past, like last year with 49ers basically being dilapidated because of injury. So I say all that to say, I think at least from a depth perspective, that's where I have confidence in the Bears to still make a run. So,
Brett?
I think the division is going to be probably the most competitive division in the league this year, which is not breaking news. I think every team is very, very even. Unfortunately, again, our Bears didn't take a couple of defensive pieces in offseason that we really, really needed on that line. But I'm sticking with the Bears. I mean, I do have faith in Johnson and what he's building on the offensive side of the ball. With the offensive line, which again is where it starts. We're just so damn thin on that front 7. We're not a championship contender again, but I do think we're good enough to win the division. So you could probably draw straws right now. I don't be surprised if Green Bay doesn't end up in last place in this division this year. I'm not saying they're going to go 5-12 or something like that. I think it's going to be I think the first place team and last place team probably won't have 2 wins difference between the 2. But give me the Bears. When you come to my town, you better damn well bear down. Chicago Bears.
Thanks for ensuring that we're going to be in 4th place, Brett, for taking the Bears to win it. That's great. Okay.
Brett's inside a house divided because his feline friend there crossed the screen
who
twice.
Who in the hell takes their own team to freaking totally gank us? We're going 5-12 now, Brett.
Hey, if they go 5-12, it's because that dumbass that you love so much refuses to take defensive players. I mean, that's what you get when you hire damn offensive coordinators as a head coach. Don't even get me started on the soapbox.
Anyway,
Softest defensive line in the damn NFL because of that genius we hired.
hey,
We're gonna have to pick up the pace a little bit.
Hey.
boys.
I don't think you know what the hell you are talking about. Back to you, Eric.
only took one
I
show to
picked
be
the
able to do
Bears.
that. All right, moving along. AFC East. I think the Patriots take a step back. I think this is the Bills' division to win all the way through. I don't have much faith in the Jets and the Dolphins at all. I think the Bills win the AFC East pretty handily. Ed,
Not even close. Bills.
Brett,
Bills because there's literally nobody else.
KJ.
Yeah, definitely the Bills all the way.
Of course, the Bills, right? All right, let's go to the AFC North. What are you thinking there, Ed? I'll give you the first shot at the AFC North.
I think you're going to see the resurgence of them there, Cincinnati Bengals. I think a healthy Joe Burrow, and they took the
Healthy
off
for
season.
now. Healthy for now.
Yeah, they took the off season to kind of revamp the defense a little bit. So they still have their good offense in place. Yep, I think Cincinnati's going to take that division.
Brett,
Hell if I know. that division's such a mess. But there's no D in Cincinnati and there's no D in Bengals. So how much did they really improve the defense? Joe Burrow just had such a magical year in Baton Rouge, and he had a fantastic year in Cincinnati. But again, he's staying hurt. They just that's another bad division this year, guys. I mean, you could absolutely see a 9-8 team win that division. Give me the Bengals.
I'm going to take Baltimore because I don't believe Joe Burrow can stay healthy all year long. And, I think Cincinnati's defense is even worse than the Bears. So winning games 42-41 every week just not a recipe to win a division. So I'm going to take the Ravens.
Thanks
KJ?
for joining, Chris.
I think Mr. Burrow is sick and tired of being sick and tired. And he's going to have his O lineman, his D lineman come probably week 13 on, taking bumps on the sideline. Get back out there. And they're going to be pushing to the very end. Bengals all the way.
It's like Baltimore wins it again. AFC South. I mean, Brett, I'll let you go, but I already know what your answer is. So I think we're probably going to have a sweep on this one, but I'll let you start.
Well, who are you taking?
The Texans. Jesus. This
Right.
isn't even close.
Who's going to play quarterback? Me or you?
Does it matter with that defense?
I
You
know.
love defense. I mean, are you going to take the Titans? The Jaguars on the outside chance. I mean, the Colts.
No.
So,
No. Houston, 10-7, great defense. Maybe 9-8. 10-7. They've got a pretty strong defense, but once they get to the playoffs, they're not going to do anything. They don't have a quarterback.
We're only doing division. Playoffs don't matter.
The Texans, like everybody else, I'm sure.
Ed,
no, it'll be the Texans. They won't even be close. I bet the Texans are at worst 12-5.
KJ.
I would concur with Ed. I think those lengthy dreads toward the end of the season last year were just weighing on our poor boy Stroud's brain. and he just collapsed, at the worst time in the playoffs there. That haircut is going to do him wonders this season. He's going to be processing things at light speed, and they are definitely going to sweep the division without any problems.
On to the AFC West. Probably the toughest division in the AFC. I think the Raiders are improved, but I don't think they're ready for prime time yet. I do think that this division comes down to 2 teams. Even though I do think the other team is going to be a solid team, I think this division comes down to 2 teams. And I would order this division exactly like this: Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders. So I'm taking the Broncos.
Okay.
Ed?
Yeah, since we're running behind, we'll just mention Genty going down, it looks like, with a torn ACL for the season. The Raiders just can't get their shit together. It's like every year they say they're going to be promising and they end up the same 5-12 or whatever every year. The Genty injury is going to kill them. So throw them out. I kind of agree with you. They keep saying the Chiefs are going to rebound, but they're going to have to rebound with the same guys or even less on defense. They lost some of their top defensive players.
Right.
So I think you're right. I think it goes Denver, LA, Chargers, Chiefs, with Raiders a distant 4th.
KJ?
I would concur with you, gentlemen. My cards would be on the table for Denver as well.
Brett?
Broncos 13-4, Chargers 12-5. Give me the Broncos.
Where would you think the Chiefs are going to finish? They win 10 games?
No.
He didn't think that far.
I don't think so.
8-9, 9-8.
That's about where they're at.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where I think. Real quick, I kind of talked about them a little bit. Teams under the radar. I mentioned, they weren't in my top 15, but I mentioned Minnesota and the Giants. You fellas have any other teams that are currently under the radar that maybe weren't my top 15 or aren't being talked about nationally that, could potentially be in there? Brett, you're looking kind of.
How about them Cowboys?
Oh, God, I knew you were going to say that. Any other teams than the Cowboys?
Green Bay's cooked.
I hope you're right. God, I hope you're right. I hope you're not killing us by saying all this stuff, but I hope you're right.
Oh, if they go 14-3, I'm gonna be miserable. I'm just gonna.
Yeah. So we concur with Minnesota and the Giants and the Cowboys. Anybody else? I mean, I think those 3 teams. Again, the Cowboys could win the division, losing the first round pretty easy. Minnesota could be a playoff team or might finish last. They could finish first. I mean, anybody to me in the NFC North could be 1 through 4. Any of them.
No, one team we haven't even mentioned, which is just wild when you think about it. What do y'all think about the upcoming season with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
That's true. I mean,
They ain't even brought up the Steelers.
it's
the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right. Are they a playoff team? Does anybody here, if you believe they're a playoff team, speak now or forever hold your peace?
I mean, if Aaron Rodgers could go back in time, yes, but unfortunately you can't, and I don't like the man, but they're liable to have a pretty rough year.
He sure decided to declare war on ESPN, didn't he?
Right.
I did kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie.
I did too.
Right.
I didn't mind that.
Yeah.
I've never
Well,
seen
I guess-
Pat McAfee go from Rebel to ESPN Soy Boy in half a second than I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, I know. Pat's like, well, hold on. This is my job. What the hell did you
Next
just say?
segment, next question.
Next question. Let's move on. So I guess we'll add the Steelers since Brett brought them up. We'll add the Steelers. So we got 4 teams: Minnesota.
No, what do you guys think? We haven't touched on them at all. I mean, what are your thoughts on the Steelers?
I just honestly, I think the Steelers are going to be a middle of the road team. I think there's some weeks where like, holy cow, the Steelers won, and there's going to be some weeks where like, oh, the Steelers lost that game. I mean, I don't know. I don't. There's nothing. Their defense is like the most expensive defense in the NFL, but it's the oldest defense in the NFL. I mean,
Well, I think maybe the two biggest question marks this year, fellas, out of the 32 teams, and let me throw this out there, is the Baltimore Ravens and Pittsburgh Steelers, because they had the same coaches. They're the most tenured coaches for forever. I mean, and these days and times forever. Do we really know what the hell we're going to see next year with Baltimore and Pittsburgh?
We don't. So I guess time will tell. Last one. We better. Which one do you want to do, Ed? Let's do this one. Ed, right now you have $100 to put on the table. Who wins the Super Bowl? Because I'm sure everybody had Seattle and New England on their Super Bowl set last year. So you got $100. Where are you laying it for the Super Bowl?
Oh, it's gonna be between Seattle and LA. It's hard to repeat, but yeah, I'll say LA. Seattle repeats.
Seattle repeats. Brett, $100.
I've got the Los Angeles Rams and the Denver Broncos playing in the Super Bowl, and the Rams winning by 6.
KJ?
I'd go Seattle, I guess.
Seattle? I actually like yours, Brett. I got the Rams and the Broncos because I think the AFC is just the weakest division. I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Or the weakest conference, I should say. And I think the Super Bowl champion comes out of the NFC again.
Yeah.
But and if that's the case, I'm going to take the favorite right now. 55-1, Los Angeles Rams. So we got 2 Seattles and 2 Rams. We'll see how it'll probably end up being Detroit and Baltimore. Who knows? I mean,
yeah, no telling.
Can we make like one wild ass reach prediction each of us? Is that something that would be in the cards with a limited amount of time we have left?
What's your reach?
I'm going to propose, and this is primarily based on, even ironically more so, our week 1 matchup with the ever aspiring Bills. I believe, I'm not going to project anything further, but I believe this will be the year we check the box on doing what we have never done before in franchise history, and that is reaching an AFC championship game, not championship, but the game. So that's my wild prediction.
For who? The Texans?
The Texans. Yes.
Okay. Brett, what's your wild prediction?
I think that this isn't really a wild prediction. I mean, I've already done mine. I really think Green Bay's going to finish last in the division, so you can use that one. But Josh Allen finally gets in his AFC Championship game again this year, and again I think comes up just a hair short because, like I said, I'm going with Denver and the Rams. So give me one of those, either Green Bay or Buffalo on those wild predictions.
Ed, what's your wild prediction for the NFL?
I'm going to say that the Cincinnati Bengals are able to put it together for the AFC, and they knock off Buffalo or Denver, either one, in the AFC Championship game. And once again, Josh Allen goes into the offseason wondering what the hell happened. I just think he's going to go down in history is that quarterback
They just couldn't get
Dan
it.
Marino.
who couldn't get past the big one.
Dan Marino. That's
And
right.
it's not necessarily his fault.
Right.
No.
His team
That-
just could never get past the big one.
You bring up a good point, and maybe the injury attribute is what makes the difference here when I try to compare the two in my head. But so far from what we've seen of both those guys, and I was the hugest like Phillip Rivers fan growing up as a young kid. Texans and Houston was always my number one, but I loved watching the Chargers, especially in the early, late 90s, early 2000s. Who do y'all think is more Phillip Rivers-esque in terms of like persona, on-field performance? Would you say Burrow or Allen?
Allen.
Allen.
Here's one for you. The NFC South wins a playoff game. You heard it here first.
Yeah,
NFC South wins.
he's
I don't know who it is.
Go
he's
Baker.
on painkillers. He's on painkillers. for
I'm
his
on muscle relaxers, painkillers, man. I'm just saying. The NFC South wins a playoff game. I don't
Stranger
know who it's
things
gonna be.
have happened.
I don't know what the matchup's going to be, but if it's the NFL, crazy things happen. You heard it here first.
Bucks upset the Cowgirls. There you go. That's what
That would be outstanding. I would really love that. That would be hilarious. Anything else for the good of the cause?
Yeah, well, I know this is not going to happen, but I can say a prayer that the Chicago Bears sign a decent defensive lineman during the season.
Listen, let's just hope. Let's hope that the Raiders' season is absolutely tanked by about week 4. And I mean, Max Crosby's got to be the best available edge rusher. They got to get somebody there.
So we need a good tackle too. There's a guy by the name of Isaiah Buggs I would take a flyer on in a heartbeat right now if you could just control his off the field behavior.
Right.
College
Good,
football starts up this weekend.
Yeah, not a whole lot of huge games.
There isn't any games worth a damn. So our official prediction race does not start till next week.
Just a reminder.
0-0.
Just a reminder. Who won the college and NFL season last year? Oh, that's right. That was me.
And who's back to full strength this year?
Yeah, but listen, just a reminder.
Who came in last in the UFL last year?
Dude, I was so checked out in the last half. I just watched the games, man. What do you want me to do?
Hey, that was pretty close, though. Every one of us was within a couple games of each other.
Yeah.
It's good neck and neck. It's easier picking between 8 teams than it is 32. You need to be fair. So
Yeah. How are we doing this year? Are we going by point spread or are we going by win-loss? What are we doing?
We have so many games with the college NFL, we probably just better pick them straight up.
We'll pick them straight up.
Yeah.
what's your over-under, Brett, on Rapoli announcing these 2 expansion teams before the end of October?
I think going back to my research, my guess was first week of October. What's your guess?
I'm going post-October, like November. They're going to be stupid late again and suck the crap out of everything.
Okay, but it's college and NFL, so we're just gonna pass on by that.
We're just catering to our straggling spring.
We're not gonna freak out about that yet. We got a few months to freak out about that yet. So.
He's too busy posting about damn horse racing. I wish he had a horse shoved up his ass.
So with that said, it's great to be back for another season of college and NFL. Give us a like, give us a follow. Appreciate all the pages that let us post. If there's any pages out there that don't want us to share our show, please let me know, because otherwise it's coming your way. Watch the footballs fly, where it's another season of football. We will see you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central, just like we always do. Have a great weekend, everybody.
And that's the bottom line.